to my channel. I'm Anne and today I'm bringing you my May wrap up. It's a little bit later than expected, but we're fine. We're doing it. We're doing the damn thing. So in the month of May, I read 15 books. May was definitely a bit of a slower reading month for me just because I found it really hard to actually concentrate on my reading because there was a lot of things happening. But I read 15 books, I had 3 5 stars, I read 1 arc, and at the end of May, I had read 89 books out of my goal of 100. So, pretty happy with that. So, the first book that I read in the month of May was The Shining Girls by Lauren Bugis, and unfortunately, I didn't love this one. I gave this a 2-star read for me. I found this to be very convoluted, I found it to be very I don't even know the words on how to explain this book. I just didn't like it. It felt like if Stephen King wrote this. There are certain things that probably shouldn't have been said in here. I found it to be very boring. I didn't really like any of the characters. I found it to be very convoluted. I just didn't really understand what was happening. So this is basically a time traveling serial killer. And it's very strange, it's very different, and unfortunately I just really didn't love this one, which I'm very sad about, but that is that one. I don't really have much else to say about it. The next one that I read was Sea of Evil and Desire by Jay Strelu. This was gifted to me by Julia, so massive thank you to Julia for sending me your PR box. This is also signed by the author, which was amazing. So this is about our main character, what's her name, Morgana, and her grandmother has passed away, so she decides that she is going to move in and help with her granddad. So she ends up moving back to an island off the coast of Scotland, and when she arrives there, strange things start happening, and she ends up becoming this she ends up going underwater and kind of exploring that and realizing that mermaids and things like that are real, and it's very interesting. She meets Finn. He is magnetic, dark, and utterly unreadable. His mystery pulls her in, but the very thing that intrigues her might be why she should keep her distance. As the festival of Samhain approaches, the ocean whispers tales of the dead and an ancient prophecy stirs, one that could unravel everything Morgana thought she knew about herself and the world beneath the waves. I did enjoy this. I gave it a 4-star read. This was very interesting. It was very atmospheric, very whimsical, and it kind of felt dark in a way. But yeah, I'm still giving Finn the side eye. I don't trust him, and I'm very intrigued to see where this story goes. There is a little bit of spice in here, but the romance is very slow burn, and we are still wondering about what is going to happen with this romance. So yeah, it was definitely an interesting one. It's very unique and very different to a mermaid fantasy story that I've ever read before, so I'm very intrigued to continue with this series. The next one that I read was Airpeen by Holly Wilde, and this was a buddy read with some of my friends, and this is a very short smutty sentient object romance. Basically, this lady ends up on a plane, and it turns out that the plane seats can provide different types of pleasure. It was interesting, and I gave it 3 stars. It had me cracking up. It was a fun time buddy reading it with the girls, and that's all I'm going to say about that one. Then we also buddy read Corn Daddy, which is basically this girl decides that she's going on a date in a corn maze field thing, and he doesn't turn up, so she ends up getting kidnapped by a corn, and it's just smut from there. It was definitely very interesting. I found this one to be a little bit more gross, and there were certain times that I felt like I needed to gag because it was kind of disgusting. Gag, not in a fun way, in a gross way. So yeah, that was definitely an interesting one to read, and I don't think I'll be ever reading it again. I gave it a 2-star. Then I picked up Of Dresses and Dragons by AJ Dove. I talked about this in my book battle episode number 3. No, episode 4. It hasn't come out yet, but this was really great. This is book 1 in the Tarracona Chronicles, and this is about our main character, Ria, and she is a lady in waiting, but she always has dreamed of more, than being a lady in waiting. She always believes that she should marry rich and that she can kind of create a life that she wants. So when the princess is in the process of picking her ceremonial dragon, the princess gives Rhea the task of picking the dragon for her, and if she picks the right dragon, then she will be allowed to marry out of becoming a lady in waiting. And so we end up then coming across the dragon trainer Gareth, and he is the grumpiest of grump. He also has some secrets that we are slowly uncovering as we go through this story, and we're just watching them interact, and there's a lot of kind of undercurrents of tension and a plot line that's kind of coming through, where a lot of these people within this castle and things are starting to pass out, and no one really understands why, and there's just this sickness going around, and Rhea is trying to figure out what's going on, and it's definitely interesting. I really, really enjoyed it. I love the tension between Rhea and Gareth. I loved that Rhea is very forward in her sexual endeavors, and she decides who she wants to be with when she wants to be with them. And I loved when I love the dragons. You read a dragon book, you always have to love the dragons, right? I absolutely love the dragons, and I'm very excited to continue with book 2. Hopefully I'll be picking it up in the month of June, but we shall see. The next one that I picked up was Mantras and Minotaurs by Ashley Bennett. This is book 3 in the Leviathan Fitness series, and this one we're following the main character from book 1 and book 2, their parent, mum, and her relationship with a minotaur. This is really great. This is a older female and male trying to find themselves in this new relationship, coming to terms with being in a long distance relationship, and I just really, really loved how Ashley explored having an older female become sexually active again, which I found really, really great. I loved this relationship. They were so adorable together. And it was just a great time. I listened to it on audio and I had a really great time with it, and I'm very excited to read more from this series. And yeah, it was just such a fun time. I gave it a 5-star because it was great. The next one that I picked up was Noughts and Crosses by Mallory Blackman. I wanted to pick this one up because when I was in school, my teacher picked that I had to read To Kill a Mockingbird while the other class read Noughts and Crosses. So I was always jealous of this series and those people reading this series. So I picked it up, decided to give it a go. I listened to this on audio and I didn't like it, which I'm very shocked by. I thought I was really, really going to love this. It's sort of dystopian, but it takes everything at its head. The white people in this world are the slaves, the lower class, whereas the people of color are more prominent and dominant in this world and kind of rule everything. And we're following Callum and Sephi as they have fallen in love with each other. Sephi is black, Callum is white, and kind of watching their journey. And I did not like this. I found it to be boring. I found it to be very juvenile. Sephi and Callum are very annoying, and then it takes this massive time jump, and it's just, I don't know, I just didn't feel. The only reason I finished it was because I was listening to it on audio and I wanted to kind of know how it ended. And unfortunately, I just didn't love it, and I can't pinpoint why. Yeah, I just can't pinpoint why I didn't love it as much as I thought I was going to. The ending did get me. The ending was quite emotional, but I'm intrigued by the sequel, but also at the same time, I feel like I'm just not going to enjoy it, which is unfortunate. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel very torn with this one. So yeah, it's unfortunate. I gave it a 3-star, I'm pretty sure. Let me just check. Yeah, I gave it 3 stars, and yeah, I'm sad that it wasn't my favorite, but I don't know, I just can't pinpoint why I didn't love it. It's kind of driving me insane. The next one that I picked up was The Penultimate book in the Kingdom of Lies series. So Queen, the Fierce and Deadly. As you can see, I didn't annotate this just because, but I did underline it and stuff. I just haven't got my sticky tabs out just because I wanted to read this and not spend a lot of time annotating it. But I yeah, I like underlined everything, so I'll definitely be going back and annotating it when I have a when I have a chance. But this was an amazing ending to this series. It wrapped up everything. I'm left with no questions, and I'm just sad to see these characters go. It's a 5-star read for me. If you can't tell, this whole series is a 5-star read for me. This is one of my favorite series of all time. I loved it so much. Just the final battle, everyone coming together. There was a lot of deaths in here that were quite sad. I cried so many times in this book. There were certain things that really got me, and I was just sitting there with tears streaming down my face because I could not believe what was happening. And watching other relationships blossom was amazing, and just seeing more of Prisca and Lorien. Like, I just want to live in this world, and I would love if there was more books in this series, but unfortunately this is the last one. So I am sad that this is the ending, but I'm happy that I finished this series. And Stacia Stark has absolutely become one of my favorite authors and auto-buy authors. So over the next few months, you will definitely be seeing me read way more books from Stacia Stark. The next one that I picked up was Lavender and Pearls by Sue Carpenter. So this is a young fiction story where we're following Jackie and her brother Hayden. They end up going on a adventure to New Zealand because their dad needs to work in New Zealand, and so they're staying with their aunt, and her brother ends up going missing, and she has to venture into these new worlds to find him and find possibly her mum who went missing many years ago. I really love this. It was very fast paced, and I do like that this is a dyslexic friendly story, so the font is dyslexic friendly, if you can see that. I was a little bit unsure about going into this one with the dyslexic friendly font, but once you start reading it, you don't even notice it anymore. You like, your eyes just completely adjust, and I just loved it. This is very magical, very whimsical. There was a lot of humor in here. There's a lot of growth with Jackie and Hayden and watching their relationship kind of blossom, and I felt very connected to Jackie in this one because she had to grow up a lot quicker than is normal for a child, and watching her kind of become very mature and serious, and then also letting loose and realizing that she can still be a kid even though she's had a hard life with her mum being gone and she's kind of taking care of everything. I really enjoyed it, and I gave it a 4-star read for me. The next one that I picked up was Eve and Adam. This is going to be in Book Battle episode number 4-2. This is a sci-fi where our main character is given a task after she's been in a accident, and her mom keeps her busy by creating her own sort of perfect boy, but she believes that this is sort of a game and it doesn't create the perfect boy, and turns out it does. It's definitely very YA, very 2010s. Certain things probably shouldn't have been said in here, and yeah, I didn't love it, but it was very fast paced, and I read it within like 2 sittings, so it was fine. But more on that in the upcoming book battle vlog. Then I picked up His Solstice Angel by Shay Tarl. This is the novella after book 2 in the Court series. This is following Zachariah, Michaels, and Samantha and their story. Samantha ends up becoming a receptionist and working with Zach as he has taken over the security company that the Court rules, and we just watch them as they fall in love. Samantha has a lot of trauma that she's dealing with. There's a lot of trigger warnings in here, so definitely check that out. I would say that this is the most triggering one out of all of the books in this series, but I really loved it, and there is a big content warning at the front, so just make sure. I love this. underlined and highlighted a lot of things in here, so I definitely will be chucking tabs in here at some point. Again, I was just trying to really fly through my reading because I needed to get a lot done because I was running out of time. But yeah, this is beautiful. I loved Zach. I've loved Zach since book one, so I'm very happy to see his love story and him get his happiness as he deserved. The next one that I listened to was Barbarian Heart by Ruby Dixon. This is book 9 in the Ice Planet Barbarian series. I took quite a big break in between reading book 8 and book 9, specifically because these stories can become quite monotonous and they can kind of feel very repeatable, and human girl falls in love with an alien and it's their story, and it ends up with one of them being with the female being pregnant pretty much. But I really like this one. Book 8 definitely took a massive shift in its overarching plot, I guess you would say. So it was definitely interesting following this one. So book 9, I don't really want to give too much away, but basically we're watching, it's sort of like a second chance romance, and we're watching them slowly rebuild their relationship and kind of come to terms with what happened in the end of book 8 and kind of going from there. And I really enjoyed it. It was definitely it was exploring much harder topics compared to books 1 to 8, I guess. And yeah, I really enjoyed it, so I'm very happy to be continuing with this series, although it will probably be another couple of months before I pick up book number 10. I don't even know what who book number 10 is following, but I'm very intrigued. Then I read In the Wake of the Wicked by V.B. Lacey, and this is following Rose, and her uncle has been tasked by taking part in this magical tournament where if you win, you get the most magic that is divided up between all the different territories. But something happens to her uncle and Rose has to take his place, and she is starting to figure things out, trying to break this curse that is getting everyone ill. And it was really good. I really enjoyed it. This is a recommendation from Brie at Cheese and Reads on Instagram. She's also my podcast host, and I was very happy to finally pick this one up. This is Wicked meets Hunger Games. We're following this main character, Rose, who is really struggling with believing that she is a good person, and she has seen a lot. She has a lot of trauma, and she doesn't believe that she can be loved. And it was just really good. And the tournament, I really loved it. It was a very unique tournament style, and I had a great time. This is a standalone, but there is it's going to be a series of interconnected standalones. I really love the romance. It ended up with this sort of enemies to reluctant allies to lovers sort of story. There is no spice in here, so if you like your spice, that's completely fine, but it's not in here. Although the tension and the chemistry between these two characters, top tier, and I really loved it. The next one that I read was Protecting His Princess, which is book 3 in the Pacific Passions series. I read this in preparation for doing a podcast interview with Courtney Clark Michaels, and in this one we're following Anna and Theo. Anna is a princess in this island, in this specific island, and she decides that she's running away. She has not had a life that she's wanted, and she decides that she's going to run away and kind of experience things that she wants. So she makes a list of things that she wants to do, and she runs away to London. Theo is then hired to find her and protect her until she can go home, but Anna doesn't know that. They end up coming in contact with one another and slowly falling in love with each other and watching their story. Theo is a very messy character. He has PTSD and depression and anxiety from trauma as a child, but then also from being in the military and kind of seeing a lot of war. So we're watching them, and Oleana is obviously trying to live her best life, but also has a lot of trauma dealing with being a woman and a female in the Pacific Islands, where there is a lot of responsibility and pressure put on the women to be the homemakers and making everything in life and happy and easy for men in this world. So it was definitely interesting, and I really loved it, and it makes me very excited to read book 1 and book 2 in this omnibus. So very excited for this one. And the last book that I read in the month of May was Storms of Change by Zoe J. So this is a short story. As you can see, it's only 46 pages, and in this one we're following Gala. She is a non-magical orphan who is raised in a magical family, and when she so she decides, like, she's resigned to the fact that she's never going to have magic. She is just a human in this world who knows about magic because her adoptive family is magic. But on the 7th anniversary of her parents' death, magic turns up, and she is then trying to figure out how she's gotten this magic and how she can control it. So her mother gets her a job as a teacher placement, like a teaching placement in a magical school, and while she's teaching kids how to control their magic, she is also learning how to control her magic and come to terms with being part of this family now and having this magic. It was such a sweet story. Gala is definitely someone who struggles, who doesn't feel comfortable within the family. She's kind of like, yeah, they took me on because I didn't have a family and that's the only reason why, but they honestly truly love her, and watching her really realize that and kind of blend within the family is just amazing. I really loved these sort of dynamics that Gala and relationships Gala formed within the school setting, and it was just really fun and really cute and a really fast-paced read. So I'm pretty sure that is all of the books that I read in the month of May. So we've got a little bit less than normal, but still quite a few good reads in there. Yes, I've talked about all of the books that I read in the month of May. But yeah, so I'm very excited for my June reading. I've definitely read a lot more already this month, which is exciting. And yeah, I feel like I'm finally getting back into my mojo of creating content and reading and feeling like I can concentrate. So if you like this video, make sure to give it a like, comment down below what you read in the month of May or what your favorite read was in the month of May, and subscribe if you want to see more content from me. Bye!